Today I have a very simple announcement, and that is that from deliveries next week, the Australian government will triple the number of doses from 50 to 150 per week for the lower volume general practices, and we will double the number of doses per week from 100 to 200 per week for the medium volume general practices around the country. And we always said that as supplies became available and as we had confidence in those supplies and sufficient contingency, then we would make that available, and that's exactly what we've done. And we've worked with the GPs, and Lucas and his team have done that. We've worked with the suppliers, and we're confident in the supply, and we're now able to do that. And we also thank the states and territories for the fact that many of those have moved more broadly to Pfizer. They're continuing to vaccinate with AstraZeneca, but where they have spare supplies, they've also made that available. So that's much appreciated. Then, in addition to that, in terms of cases, you may be aware that in New South Wales today, one case has been identified. Contact tracing is already underway. We know the strength of the New South Wales system, the absolute global gold standard. And that case will appear in tomorrow's figures. Today, importantly, 0 cases around Australia, 77 days, at the same time as we're seeing over 775,000 cases around the world, and agonisingly over 14,000 lives lost. Almost half of those cases, over 350,000 of those cases, are in India, and we feel for and we support what's happening in terms of the actions that are occurring in India to help with this. As part of that, I'm pleased to be able to announce that within the next 24 hours, the first shipment of Australian medical supplies will be going to India, and that includes, in particular, 1,056 ventilators and 42 oxygen compressors, so 1,056 ventilators and 42 oxygen compressors. This is the first shipment. It's not the last, and we're getting great support from around the states and from the general community on that front. With regards to testing, we've just passed 17 million tests and 53,000 in the last 24 hours. But in New South Wales, obviously, if you are in one of the affected areas, as outlined by the Chief Health Officer there, we would encourage you to come forward for testing. In relation to vaccinations, Lucas will give more detail, but we've now reached almost 2.4 million vaccinations nationally, 2,396,314 vaccinations, including over 79,000 vaccinations in the last 24 hours, and that is 858,000 at state level and 1.5 million at Commonwealth level, 1.538 million to be more precise, and that is overwhelmingly led by our GPs. So I'm delighted that we're able to support our GPs today with a tripling of doses to the lower volume general practices. That will give them more capacity as we move into the over 50s phase